Hey guys, it's Vince. Today in this video we're going to be discussing how to think like a CNC micromanufacturing business owner using leverage. Many of you already understand the principles of leverage. I get asked all the time, one of the biggest questions that comes up constantly is, I can afford this machine in this size. What machine do you recommend? Usually a client will have the machine that they've already picked out. They ask me this question. They want to schedule a consultation. Money is tight. They really want to go over the engineering of the machine. It happens all the time. As a matter of fact, this is one of the machines that just came up yesterday. And a client wanted to use this for a particular application. And while these machines are fine, if you're looking at doing your own type of retrofit, so to speak, as far as finding the weak areas in the machine and going through them and actually, modifying it at will, if you're looking for a fire and forget solution, what a lot of guys forget is the principle of leverage, or they don't understand it to begin with. And I'm going to teach you guys something that many of you don't understand. And the last person I spoke with yesterday dealing with this machine is going to school to be a doctor. He's actually in his last 2 years before he starts his residency. We discussed him getting in micromanufacturing. He has products already like many of you, but he first started out the conversation with, hey, I've only got a $2,000 budget. Okay. What size machine do you want to go with? Well, I want to go with a 4x4 machine. Well, $2,000 for any of you guys out there that are just starting out, that's not going to cut it for a 4x4, a real 4x4, something that's going to make you money, again, be up to the level of the repeatability of what I would consider to be a professional level micromanufacturing type equipment. Now, many of you already know that. The guys are already involved using 4x4 equipment. They understand those robots, what they cost, usually about $6,000 to $7,000 to get something decent. And when I say decent, like I said, it's got the repeatability, it's got the reliability, and again, dealing with the bigger names in the business to make sure you're getting warranty and U.S. support. Now, that being said, how do we go and take a $2,000 set budget, what he claimed to have, and how do we use that to get that $7,000 or $6,000 machine? Okay. First of all, why would we want to look at getting that machine? Well, if we look at these types of machines, and we see these all over the place, the thing you have to realize with them is a lot of them have Gerbils. They have all types of Arduino type boards. And while those boards are fine for certain applications, when you're dealing with these type of applications where we're getting into actual manufacturing and you're trying to fulfill products in demand, typically you're going to be dealing with unreliable aspects of it. And not every machine suffers from it, but I'll say this, at least 95% do. Why is that? Because you are the engineer, the technician, and the programmer all in one. And many of you have no problem with that. I mean, we as the DIY crowd, we understand that. If you have an engineering background, that's fine. It's going to help you that much more. But keep in mind that when you look at equipment like this, where again the controller is pieced together, you're going to be building that. Spindle is only including certain components. You still have to build the spindle cables. You still have to understand the programming of the actual unit itself. Stepper motors need to be mounted, which with any machine will be part of it. But also is the fact of time, money, all of the retrofitting time that you're going to put into it, the reverse engineering of what's going to need to be updated. And believe me, for every machine like this that's sold, I have heard more and more guys like many of you, if you go through YouTube, you'll see very seldom are these machines left stock. And there's a good reason why. So rather than beat a dead horse and discuss stuff I've discussed 100 times on the channel, let's discuss, like I said, how we take this $2,000 budget and we leverage it to get the machine that would be more appropriate for what applications this doctor wants to do. So what I did here is I just came over to a credit card basic minimum payment calculator. And why I did this is so you guys can start understanding what the power of leverage is. Okay, my better half is a corporate accountant for McDonald's. She deals with all of the franchise owners of McDonald's fast food restaurants. Needless to say, I don't think I have to tell you, they're all multimillionaires. Okay, you have to have over $1 million in the bank to be approved for to become a McDonald's operator. It's a very interesting business franchise because in order to get involved with McDonald's, you have to be an owner operator. These guys are in their own restaurants. This is not a passive type career. That being said, when those operators have to update their restaurant, and why I'm using them is because you will see how it's used at the top tier level, and then you'll see how we can use it to start a business or to leverage our smaller business and formulate it into where we want to go, so to speak. We're trying to use a vehicle. So basically how it works is, let's say that top tier echelon franchise owner of McDonald's, he says it's time to update my kitchen. Typical kitchen at McDonald's, between all the equipment that they have, you're looking over $1 million. I mean, very easily to redo everything, that's what they're looking at. That guy easily has 3 to 4 million in his account at any given time that he can pull from. They don't usually do that. What they will do is use the power of leverage. They've already got a good relationship with the bank. They take the loan out from the bank, and they may pay $10,000 a month on that loan for the $1 million. But guess what? That equipment starts becoming profitable the day they purchase it. So that $10,000 that they're spending a month sounds like a lot of money, but it really isn't when you quantify the actual money that they're saving, because they're keeping that $1 million in their pocket, or multi-million dollars in their pocket, while they're actually updating their equipment and still are able to run the business and produce a profit that they'll pay off in no time. And that is the power of leverage at that top tier level. Now, you can quantify that with any business model you'd like. So let's do it with ours, okay? Credit card balance of $6,000. Now, many of you out there, let's be honest, credit sucks. I mean, we all know it's a scam in most cases, but if it's understood, it's a very, very, very powerful opportunity for us. Unfortunately, many people do not have the credit required to do this. And if you don't, my recommendation is get your credit in order. If you already have credit, God bless you. I mean, then you're ready to do this. And when I say have credit, I'm not talking about a $500 charge. I'm talking about real credit. You want at least 10K if you're looking to get into micro manufacturing and practice this method. But rest assured, it'll work with any method. However, that's about the average going rate for, again, if we're using our typical 4x4 machine. If we're going with a 60-40 Chinese retrofit to do something like that, or another Chinese retrofit, you could probably take that down to $3,000 to $4,000. Okay, but the principle is still the same. So credit card balance right here, we're at about a $6,000 credit card balance. The credit card rate's 20%, and that's just calculating, average of what most credit cards are. Some are much higher, some are much lower. It all depends. Some of them have introductory rates, like many of you have seen, 0% interest, all that neat stuff. But overall, minimum payment at 4%, monthly payments would be $240, balance payoff at $150 a month. Now, here's what most people have. This particular doctor, he says, I've got $2,000 cash right now I can go with. I said, you got 2K? I've got 2K. Okay, watch this. If we take $2,000, this particular individual already has a business model. He's already making products. He's doing it manually, like many of you start out. He has a couple ideas for other products, but without the robot, he can't move forward with producing them, and certainly can't move forward with producing them and quantifying, an actual velocity to the manufacturing. So doing things by hand, we know, is tedious and really painful in terms of trying to be precise. And unless you're building Ferraris, it's not as profitable as owning that robot. So needless to say, he wants to do the robot because he realizes he can streamline the business, like many of you. But with this $2,000 investment, how do we get this $6,000? Well, here's how we do it. I said, look, Doc, do you have available money on your charge? Yeah, I've got money on my charge. Okay, you've got good credit? I've got good credit. Okay. Could you charge the machine you want, a higher end machine, up to $7,000? Because of course he said to me when I told him, look, $2,000, that's kind of tight. Many of you do this and say the same thing. Well, what if I had an open budget? There's always that what if. Okay, well, let's talk about it. If you had the open budget and you have that kind of money, like we said, and he's already got that kind of money on his charge, I said, why don't you take that $2,000 and use it towards payments on the robot. Let me explain. If you got 6K or 7K, whatever number we're at, we're seeing the monthly payments $240 a month. He has $2,000 cash right now. You divide that with 240, he can get 8.3 payments out of that actual $2,000 that he has cash liquid right now. Many of you can come up with that $1,000 to $2,000 limit, but you're always buying these hobby, aka toy machines. Why call hobby in CNC world, guys? Let's just tell it what it is. It's basically a toy. And why I say it's a toy is because it's enough to get motion. It's enough to cut most things out in terms of light materials, but it's not enough to classify it with the repeatability, the scalability, and the speed of what most will require when dealing with civilian-based micromanufacturing. Take it for what it is, but that's the facts behind it. So if we're talking about investing in a machine that doesn't need updating, that's going to get you out of the gate, keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, as far as with velocity on your manufacturing, look at this actual business prospect as far as taking that $2,000. He just took his $2,000 and got to use this machine for 8 months for that $2,000. Now, I'm asking many of you, like I asked him, if you've already got clients lined up and are doing these parts by hand, you've got 8 months to learn the machine if you don't know it already. Because basically, if you know the software, picking up the machine is not too difficult if you have general understanding of what you're trying to design. Where it becomes more tedious is when you start trying to factor in, hey, I've got to learn the software. I've got to hire someone that understands Mach 3 or learn that software. Then I have to learn all of the hardware associated with building the robot, because many of you are going to buy them that they're still in kit form, even if you are spending $6,000 or $7,000. When you factor all that in, the electrical knowledge, the mechanical knowledge, the engineering knowledge, there's a lot of variables there. So when I discussed with him, did you understand the software? No, I don't even understand the software yet. Okay. How do I use that? I mean, I still got 8 payments that are taken care of with that $2,000. Well, then you really want to start paying to have, like I actually introduced him to, is you could pay to have the files done for your products, or have other products done for other products that you have ideas with. As long as you have the machine and you have the overhead to create the products, you know already that the machine will be profitable pending you follow through. Now, let's be real. And when I say be real, I can tell you right now, many people lack follow through. Okay, if you're working a 9 to 5, you might be extremely reliable going to work, but many people are tired when they come home and they have no follow through. If you have more time than that, you got your family, you got your kids, whatever you've got going on, you got to make sure that that machine is making you money. And that was the first question I asked him after what kind of liquid money he had available. And when he said the $2,000, I said, well, how much motivation are you going to have to actually use that $2,000 over 8 months to make that $2,000 work for you? Okay, like we said with the example with the franchise owner from McDonald's, he doesn't have to work too hard because his money's already working for him, because he's got the restaurant and he's got the guys in there already running the equipment, so the equipment basically pays itself. We don't have that. As micro manufacturing entrepreneurs, we have to look at who's running the equipment. Are we running the equipment? Okay. So that means whenever he comes home from work or school or whatever it may be, he has to come home and now run that equipment or produce components. But that being said, with smart choices in the products you're creating, still to come up with the $6,000 within 8 months is really easy to do. You start cutting out components out of composite material, carbon fiber, Kevlar. You start working in different genres, whether it be, I've seen everything from sporting goods, firearms, automotive, motorcycles, you name it, marine. These are all areas that are going to produce high dollar revenue. And the real question is what is your knowledge base? How efficient are you at follow through in not only learning the software or leveraging someone else's knowledge? Because I get guys that say that too. Well, I don't know the software, and it's just like he said, I don't know the software. And I said, yeah, but I do. So what you do is you hire someone like me or another person, and you say, hey, build me the file. Give me the file. I'll run the file. What does that come into in cost? Because a lot of guys say, okay, well, I've got 8 months, but I've got $2,000 tied up for 8 months. If I have to buy that file, you're right. You're going to buy that file one time. and that file you own. So guess what? You're producing that same product over and over and over again for a one-time investment. Many business models don't have that luxury. Okay, yeah, you're going to have your raw material investment, but what you are going to have is that file that you paid somebody else to create, and you can purchase them at will as many times as you'd like without hiring anybody, which means your overhead is lower because you're only paying for that file on hand. You're not paying somebody an hourly wage to come to work, fart around for 4 hours, looking at his phone, and finally working for 2 hours. That's not what you want. So think about it in terms of leverage, and you will quickly see you've got 8 months to recoup the initial investment of the machine. Now, I can tell you truthfully, most of my clients that are serious, that already have a business model in place with products, can pay a machine that's $6,000 or $7,000 off easily in 2 months. Easily. If they're running, now again, are they running full time? Most of them will be, or at least 30 hours a week. Okay? But let's be real on the other end. Okay? Let's say you have a husband and wife team. And the husband and wife team, like I said, my better half is an accountant, but she can do amazing things with graphics. She works with me with graphics. We work with the engineering side of the business. And if you have someone that you can trust as far as teaching and leveraging their time as well, as a couple, as a group, whether it be, friend, family member, whatever it may be, you can easily quantify this money and easily manipulate both your times and still probably double or triple your profits. When I'm talking about people paying a machine off in 2 months, it's because they're dedicated, they're motivated, and they understand what the potential is using this equipment. And it doesn't take long, especially when they've invested in quality equipment, because they're going to see that actually extrapolate in a very short period of time to even more profits. So again, it's real easy to get excited, and that's usually what people do. They see this potential, they see these cheaper machines, and they say, oh man, I've got this amount of money, but I really want this machine. Or I'll start with this machine and then I'll upgrade. And what usually happens is they upgrade the old machine that they got, and they try to polish a turd. And I'm sorry, there's just no way to do that in micro manufacturing, get the quality equipment that you just could get out of the gate if you just really quantify how to invest and how to use leverage. If you guys don't have availability as far as credit, many of you don't, you could easily save. PayPal right now has working capital. I love it. I have guys that don't like it. I personally love it. Really, it's going to work in terms like a big bank offers. A lot of corporations, like I said, the franchise owners, they deal with working capital all the time. PayPal has no payments on it for 90 days, and they take their payments from the working capital, or for the working capital loan, based on what you sell. Now, you guys can check that out, and what's really awesome, they don't look at your credit. Okay, so if you've got a PayPal account already and you're in good standing and you're producing income yearly, and they can validate the income, pulling a $6,000 loan, I think you might have to make like $20,000 a year through PayPal processing payments, which is nothing. Okay, and they do not pull your credit report. Once again, I'm going to say that clearly. They do not pull your credit report. So what I'm teaching you right here, and what I've just broken down for you, is you can use this machine for 8 months at paying that $240 minimum monthly payment if you don't actually pay the machine off. A lot of guys do. My guys dealing with a 4x4 machine usually will be doing cabinets, something similar to that. If, again, you're dealing with the Kevlar, carbon fiber, composite materials, aluminums, whatever it may be, and whatever genre you want to pick, you've got an endless array if you understand the marketing aspect, because I get questions on that too. And I'll probably be doing some more videos with that, but this is something that I've been really looking at, and when I brought this up to this potential client, he was like floored by it. He was like, I really didn't think of that. And this is a smart guy. I mean, this is a really smart guy. It's just, we don't always think of all the options we have available to us. This is a very, very usable option, but it definitely takes motivation, and it takes good, careful thought process to actually execute, because, again, yeah, you've got 8 months, but those shouldn't be 8 months of lollygagging. It should be 8 months of mastering the products. Hopefully you've already got a product, and or multiple products, or you're smart enough to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to start selling the products I've already got, and then maybe if I don't have time, I'll purchase files for other products, and therefore I'm leveraging the fact that I don't have the time to hire a programmer or the money, but I can pay for the files, and then all of a sudden I'm able to keep producing components. So I'm making and actually extrapolating your business model so you're carrying more and more products. And what are more products, guys? And many of you don't think about it like this. Let me explain what it is. You're diversifying your money. Okay, a lot of people don't think of it like that. When you have a 300 or 400 item store, you've got 300 or 400 diversifications of your investments. So maybe one product doesn't sell great. When McDonald's has a large fry on their menu, they'll have another product that sells great. I'll give you a clue of as far as how they actually work their business. It's pretty interesting. Certain menu items at McDonald's makes no money at all. They actually lose money on them. Drinks, they actually make a lot of money on. They buy the liquid and that syrup for Coca-Cola in bulk. So what they'll do is bundle it. I mean, how many people go to McDonald's and don't buy a Coke? You know, you really think about it like that. Most people buy drinks. You know, fries and stuff like that. Meat is very expensive. A lot of those burger combos, that's why they put combos together. You guys will have to figure out to do the same, but what I'm teaching you right now, you can easily buy the machine you want. And if you use the methods I've just discussed, and many of you will have more questions, and I totally expect that. But keep in mind that for every skill set that you're humble enough to admit you can't do, someone can and can do it well. The question is, how do you find that someone? And is that someone reliable to put the faith in? That's something you'll have to work out on your own to some degree. And again, if you contact me, I can do my best to connect you with the right sources. But I can tell you right now, everything I've just said, I use myself. And it's made me much more successful than trying to do, you know, $1,000 investment when I first started out and trying to figure out, well, okay, now I've got this machine, but it's not capable of anything. You know, it's capable of just doing this, and this is what typically happens. I've cut out 3 items. I had a guy spoke to a guy last week. I have a guy doing 1911 gun grips. Great business model. He's doing 1 or 2 units at a time. He's getting orders in constantly, you know, a lot of work coming to him. And the problem is the machine's not keeping up in terms of reliability. Then there were speed problems. Then there's connection problems. And we start going down the rabbit hole. And you start figuring out which way do you want to fix things. You want to retrofit the whole machine? Is it worth it? Where's the business going? And we go down that rabbit hole. So again, I want to give you guys options. I want you to be thinkers. I want you to start thinking like an entrepreneur. Because once you start thinking like an entrepreneur, whether it's CNC in robotics or whatever it may be, you start seeing that this power of leverage that I've just discussed here can be used in any business model and is. It's currently used in every business model. Now, whether or not you guys have the credit, once again, that's up to you. Many of you could take a loan out, do the same thing in terms of a personal loan with a family member. If you have, again, your mom, your dad, whoever it may be, if you tell them, hey, I'll pay you interest rate. I've got this now. I can give you this, and I'm good for this amount of time, but you loan me this. I'm going to get the business off the ground. Project. Show somebody you've done the forethought. You've taken the time to analyze the market you're in. You've already got all of your ducks in a row, so to speak, as far as the products you're planning on making and manufacturing. You've got a marketing venue. If you don't have this stuff, put it together. Like I said, connect yourself with the people that know it. You may not know everything. I certainly don't. And I try to connect myself and network. And with that networking, all of a sudden you've built a business and you didn't. It was sitting right there on your nose. But many people do not do that. They look at this equipment, and I hear it all the time. It's a hobby equipment. Then I get them on the phone and they say to me, well, I'm going to build this with it. Okay. Then it's not a hobby piece of equipment anymore. Well, no, but I don't understand it yet. Yeah, but you're planning on eventually making money with it. So let's stop all the guesswork. Let's get you making money out of the gate. And that's what I'm trying to show you using this type of model. Whether it be leveraged this way, because again, I just showed you financial leverage using a credit card on your budget. So you only got $1,000 or $2,000. It's still giving you leeway in the payment prospect as far as how many months can go by that you can use that machine to pick up the pieces, so to speak, on the difference. or leverage that money or additional money. Let's say you've got a couple hundred a month coming in, you've got the 2,000 now saved, you got a couple hundred a month you could spare paying for files. Let me tell you something, my friend, you will make a fortune if you're getting the files and you're able to produce them with the quality that you need using the proper equipment. You'll make up the money right there because, again, you're diversifying your investments. You're multiplying how much money you need to make. Maybe one item only brings in $10, but then this other item brings in 15 or 20. And yeah, there's going to be different velocities involved as far as which one sells and which one doesn't. But if you don't try, if you sit on the porch, you're going to watch everybody steal your lunch. And that's the way you need to think. You need to think, I need to be proactive. I need to get up in the morning and have a plan. Many people don't have that plan other than to go to their 9 to 5. The problem is that's only going to get you one of two things. It's going to make you tired because you're chasing money. And when you get tired of chasing the money, then you realize it's much easier to have the money chase you. How do you do it? Well, if you have manufacturing equipment, China's been doing it to us forever. So think about it. I mean, many of you watching this video, you already realize what you're watching in terms of you find this interesting. So I hope you find this interesting because it's a different side of an area that I really don't discuss because I do, when I'm doing consultations, this comes up all the time. And it's like I said, it's most of the time overlooked. Hopefully it's enlightened you guys to think. And again, if it's most likely going to raise a lot more questions. Where do I start with marketing? Where do I start with, I need to hire a graphic designer now to make a label for my product or do this or do that. All of this stuff, someone that can do, because what you have to realize is I'm doing it myself. So I know people, I'm sure you know other people. There are people out there that have the skill sets that you don't. You do have to learn to say when it's okay to be DIY and when it's okay to start saying I'm humble enough to ask for help, and be humble enough to approach that person, not necessarily to say they're an expert. I get told that a lot. I'm not an expert. I don't classify myself as an expert because CNC has way too many variables in civilian-based models to be considered an expert. I learn something every single day. I try to. The difference is that when I make a mistake, I process it. And when I say I process it, I write it down. Many of you don't think of doing that. Try doing that. Break it down into a fishbone and really analyze exactly what just happened and learn from it. Don't keep making the same mistake. That's the smartest people in my eyes. They try to learn from others' mistakes. So hopefully this video has been helpful. I hope it made you think a little bit. And it's made you realize that you could take a small amount of money with proper dedication, proper motivation, proper due diligence, and really figure out where you want to go. Really figure out, hey, you know what, I can do this. I can make this kind of money. I mean, even coming up with $240 a month, if you've already got 8 months planned, think of how much, if you've already got products made, how fast that machine can produce, products. If you're figuring like 100 IPM, 150 IPM as far as feed rates, you're producing some serious products. I mean, if you're dedicated and they're small, you don't necessarily have to fill the table with cabinets to do that. Now, of course, if you do 2 sets of cabinets, 1 set of cabinets, I know one client that did 1 set of cabinets, paid his machine off literally in one actual job. It just depends on what you're doing. But when you look at this kind of investment and you figure you've got an 8-month lead time and that's only on 2K, that's pretty amazing, guys. That's pretty amazing. Just like I said, use all your resources. So again, I hope that this video has been helpful. I certainly didn't want to bore anybody, but this is stuff that hopefully all of you are thinking about before you go out and buy, the ultimate cheap machine that's just hit the market next. They're $300, they're $400. It's the ultimate hobby machine. It does laser, it does that. And usually I'm doing retrofits on, I would say, about 85 to 90% easily. 85 to 90% of the machines I do retrofits on, or requested retrofits, are all machines under $3,000. Okay, I do have clients that'll get the 6040s, the Chinese chassis, and we retrofit them out of the gate, and it's still going to bring them up to about $3,000 to $6,000. And that's the average going rate for a real micro manufacturing machine. It's like 3D printers. It's like all the other robots that are out there, whether it be a printer, a regular printer, 3D printer, whatever it is. You go buy that $100 all-in-one HP printer, it's nowhere close to, my Epson P7000 that I have. Okay, there's a reason it's $3,000, $3,500. That's the difference. I mean, it's you're paying for that. So again, hopefully this has made you guys think. I want you guys to really do some soul searching, so to speak, on using these methods, because I know many of you are already using them, but for new guys out there trying to get involved and trying to come up with a theory of, what business model I can use, this power of leverage, regardless of what it is, whether it be time, skill set, or money, or credit card, whatever way you want to break it down, I feel it's going to take you guys to the next level if you implement it. So again, if you guys have questions, require quotes for systems, you can message me direct at storm2313@gmail.com, or you can contact me through my eDealer store on eBay. I thank you guys. To all my subscribers, I love you guys. I appreciate the fact that you listen to me talk the way you do. I can't say thank you enough. The channel's doing wonderful, and I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.